If you could travel back as many years as possible without getting them back, how many years would you travel?
30.
5.
None.
What is happening?
Man, I was very excited to do this podcast. That answer just went so many different directions. No, see, not get into that. Well, let's get into it.
Why'd you go back 30 years?
I want to experience
You're
the
not even
90s.
born yet.
Oh, I thought you meant like I can go back in time to any time.
But you won't be able to get it back. Wait, so does that mean that he's never gonna be born?
I meant like you get to like you get to go back
experience
in your
yours? Oh, okay.
in your life.
Nah, just
You
like
wanna
go
change
back
it?
in time.
you
No, I'm gonna stick with 30. Who knows what I was? You know, I was probably a speck of dust or...
a little sperm just swimming around. That's how far back you want to go.
Yeah. 5 years old? Sperm? Dang.
Yeah, you said none, Amber.
Yeah. No. I don't.
You good with everything?
Yeah, because if I don't get them back, then I'm not where I am right now, and I'm not cool with that.
That's true. But now, if you have the knowledge that you have now, going back to however many years, you've
Sure.
already learned the lesson.
Sure, but
you could be-
am I going to be able to still keep the knowledge that I have now?
Yeah.
But then I haven't gone through what I have because I can't get them
No,
back.
but then there would essentially be no point in going back then without like, because if you're just gonna go back and redo the same thing, then you're not gonna even know that you went back.
So
you would have the knowledge.
if I had the same knowledge and I was still able to do it,
I mean, it's still a good answer, like saying zero, because
I
it's
don't
like.
think so. I think I'm gonna still stay with that because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't imagine. What are you making that funny face for?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I can't imagine.
She feels like she's being judged every second.
No. Okay, keep going. What was your 5-year one?
I said 5 because like, wait, how many years? Yeah, like, if you went back in like, that's high school, right? So I just said 5, but I was just trying to say something around high school. I feel like there's so much time being wasted in high school, of like random things that you're doing and like people you're trying to impress and et cetera, that like if I was putting as much time into something that I care about and I'm passionate about, which you're still figuring it out in high school, oh my God, like you would be so ahead of everything.
Yeah, but
That's why I said that.
Is being ahead necessarily better? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
For
know.
me, like I always feel like I'm like I catch on to things later. Like I start like doing better at certain things later. But I also feel like that's just like a part of like my success is like I get onto it later. I have
You're asking,
develop a
is
better.
being ahead better?
I'm
Yes.
being ahead of the game. Like, I'm saying like you don't know how if for you at that point in time if that was meant for you.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, but it's like it's an impossible thing that's not going to happen. So for the fun of it, I'd go back and be like, "Yo, I'm me from 5 years now in high school."
Yo, since I went back 30 years, I'll have all the knowledge when I'm a fetus.
That's crazy.
Yo.
Honestly, Shamir's answer was the best.
No, you'd be put into a science experiment. That's what they do. They'd
No,
be like, "All right, this baby's too smart."
Because I know like how to play it off. I'd be like, yo, I'd pretend that I'm like a baby and I'm like, I'm supposed to act this way. So I'm way ahead of you, bro.
Great job.
Honestly, good job, Shamir.
You're gonna have to,
unintentionally ahead of you.
you're gonna have to wait 7 years just to come out, but okay.
But I'll have so much knowledge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's do the intro.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to an episode of Strange Flavors. My name is Shimmer.
I'm FARAS.
My name is Amber.
And yes, this is brought to you by Alif Theory. We found on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Strange Flavors. And you can email us on strangeflavorspodcast@gmail.com if you're an artist or if you have interesting stories or questions, etc. And yeah.
Yeah.
We also
Bring it
have
on.
merch online right now, which you can find in the description. And also, we are coming out with our series, Brown Code, Season 3, this week. I'm super excited about it.
So many of you guys have asked about it, and it's here.
Finally. Yeah, like, thank you guys for, bugging us about it for a long time. Like,
Yeah, anytime we posted like a picture of a green screen, they're like, brown coat, brown coat, brown coat.
yeah.
And a lot of the time it wasn't.
Dude,
Yeah.
why are you mocking the fans?
It's okay.
Brown coat. Brown coat.
Yeah, we collaborated with Brown Girl Magazine, so it's a lot of like influencers in it that you might recognize from different things. But it was a lot of fun, and we did it in New York, and it's a lot more people.
We got to
more
collab
questions.
with Brown Girl Magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was fire. It was very fire.
A lot of people.
So Amber, actually, you usually bring up the Cardi B news of the week, but
Are you
I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh, Faraz is catching
Yeah,
on
for
to
once,
the Cardi
don't skip.
Nicki news of the
Don't
week.
skip this because this is not this is not to be skipped. Okay, what did Cardi B do? Cardi B told on herself. She straight up told on herself that she can't. She posted this video where she was saying that
3 years ago she posted it.
Okay, it doesn't matter. She still posted it.
Uh-huh.
That she used to what like
go on
sleep with
dates.
dudes.
Go on dates with dudes, and like go to the
Rob
hotel
them.
room. Go to the hotel room, drug them,
and
then
rob them of their money to get some.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Was this?
she's
I mean, she didn't really tell on herself. The video resurfaced, and then she had to address it.
but she made a video of her talking about that.
No, but
She did tell on herself.
She did tell on herself. She said that. I feel like she said it at a time where she was trying to explain how she went through the struggle, and
But
like
that's not.
It's
no.
not. It's not.
No, it's not a
Wait,
struggle.
so are these actual dates, or are they like from the strip club, and they're like trying to sleep with her?
No. So this is what happened. She put out a video like 3 years ago. She was on live. She was talking about how people have always doubted her success, how she hasn't worked for what she has.
She was trying to say like, "Yo, I've worked for it. Like, I had to like drug people."
She was like, if I had to make rent, I had to make rent. If some dude wanted to take me out and he wanted to sleep with me, I would wait till we get to the hotel room, drug him, and then rob him. I really had to do what I had to do. And the thing is, in her mind, I genuinely feel like she doesn't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think maybe now she gets it. But back
Didn't she
then,
make a tweet? She was like,
She's still trying to like apologize for it and be like, you know, like that's what I was going through. It is what it is. She's not really like understanding how like wrong and criminal this is.
I mean, I think she addressed it to a certain extent of like, yeah, like what I did was wrong and blah blah. I don't think that, and like, what could somebody say in this situation to really be apologetic about it?
Yeah, there's
Once
no
you
way going
like
back.
you can't go back from that.
There isn't, but to downplay it and be like, that was what the time was and this is what it was happening.
Did she downplay it, or did she say that's who I was and I don't? She literally said that's who I was and I don't say that I came from anywhere.
It still
that
came off
was...
as an excuse.
I mean, I think that's your perception.
Yeah, I can see
She's
that. I
excusing
can see
it.
that it's an excuse, but like,
What else
maybe
can
she
you
was
say?
around that, you know?
Yeah.
And like a lot of guys do that, like rob other people and whatnot, like rappers
Yeah, but
and stuff.
that's not okay. Like,
Yeah, obviously,
Never
and
said
she's not
it's
saying
okay.
it's okay.
She never said it was okay.
Yeah.
She never said it was okay, even in her explanation.
Yeah.
What she said was, I said what I was saying because I was in a different part of my life.
I don't know what
she said
could
I was
do
never
instead.
trying to
I just think that's
glorify.
dumb.
She's screwed up.
She
I'm
said
just
that-
saying that that's stupid and like it's not like there's
She's
a lot
not
of
trying
people.
to glorify it in any
There's a lot of
way.
people that are like
And people who do. She
excusing
says that,
her, though.
No, but she's saying that, other people, they glorify where they come from and what they did to get to where she did. Even though that's something, what she did isn't, you can't glorify that. But she's saying that she doesn't do it. So in her defense, she's like, listen, I know what I did is wrong. That's why I don't talk about it now. That's why I don't say like, oh, this is where I came from, because I understand better now. But yeah, I don't know what somebody could say to even, excuse
you could
them
say,
from saying.
that's all you could say to that.
Yeah.
Because you messed up.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting that you did that.
Yeah. I have a, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is Cardi B canceled?
Relax. I have a question for you guys. What's like, how like England has like the royal family and like the royal wedding comes on and all this type of stuff. Like, what is America's equivalent?
I was gonna say the Obama family.
Okay.
Was
Of a royal family?
Of a royal family, though, when it comes to like outfits.
Kardashians.
Interesting.
Beyonce and Jay-Z, I don't know. Like they call her the queen and stuff. They don't call Jay-Z the king, but
like I don't think everything's on the same page with that. Like old white people, they're not gonna be like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd
Well,
be
also Jay-Z and Beyonce are super private, and
Yeah,
while the royal family
true.
is, they
but they're
also
literally
have a
royal.
lot of. They have a lot of like they'll
the royal
come out
family
and
is
do
literally royal though. It's not like people just respect them out of nowhere and they're like, "Oh, my king!" Like
No,
it's
I know,
like
but
you are
it's about
literally-
this. It's people's reaction to it. People are waiting to see their outfits. People are waiting to see what happens at their wedding.
Not everybody.
That's
There's
not
a lot of people
everybody's
that
doing.
don't like.
yeah, but a lot.
That's
do.
for the same thing
like
here
there's
as well.
a museum of all the queen's dresses,
Right.
like
Yeah.
every year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's how wild
And the
That is.
royal wedding is one of the most watched events, in history. Every single time there's a royal wedding, every time that they follow the markers, whatever. My point was, Shamir, you fell into my trap. I was trying to say the Kardashians.
Yeah, I know, that's what I said.
Okay.
But
so
I don't agree
Wait,
with
people care what they wear?
Yeah, they like
people
follow,
care a
they
lot
watch
about what they
every
wear, what
season of
jewelry,
Keeping with
whatever.
the Kardashians. Anytime Kylie says anything,
But
the
like
world goes crazy.
That many people do that?
Yes.
She talked
if she
crap
wears
about
something-
Snapchat, and Snapchat's lost $1 billion.
Yeah.
But Kim
Overnight.
doesn't wear anything.
Anytime Kim puts out an outfit, it's automatically duped into fast fashion immediately.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But anyways,
But she doesn't wear anything.
how cool is it that like Kylie and Kendall, they kind of broke off from the Kardashians and they made a brand of their own. And guess where it's coming out?
Where? Pakistan?
Walmart.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, you asked, is it cool? I don't think it's that cool.
I think it's really okay.
But, okay, why?
It's shocking.
Why Walmart?
People who are following them, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them are like, there
Poor.
are no. I mean, there's also like teenagers in high school and this and that, and it's like not all of them can afford a $30 Kylie lip kit for
So it's
one color
cheaper.
and whatever. I think it's super cool that it's super accessible to have these trendy fashions. They brought it to Walmart. It's not like they were trying to, kind of have it only in a higher end type situation. I think it's mad cool that Kylie and Kendall brought their brand
Also,
to
a lot of
Walmart.
times companies will go down a tier because their high fashion doesn't sell as much, and then they're like, oh wait, all our money's being made here. Let's keep selling these. Like, for example, Nike, right? Nike has some shoes that are like very expensive that hype beasts go off on, but they don't make as much money on those shoes as they do with like normal sort of dad shoes. So they will refocus the market on like that and make sure that their stock in that shoe is up, even though it's a lot cheaper, under $100. And so they might be doing this. It
Nike
might be a
shoes under
business move.
$100. I feel like they all start at $120, but yeah. sorry.
Exactly, that's the point. So, but the ones under 100 sell more. So, I think that it's a great business decision.
Yeah, I think it's just really cool. It's
I don't
just
think
more
that they're into
accessible.
Walmart. I would like to see Kendall and Kylie pull up
But
to
that's
Walmart.
what I'm saying is it's not like they put out like random clothing into Walmart and just slapped a name on it. It's like stuff they wear, like camo backpacks and fanny packs and clear stuff. I don't know.
Oh, they're putting clothes, not just makeup.
No, it's
And-
not makeup. It's all clothes and backpacks and accessories.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So
that's mad
it's low
cool.
quality?
I mean, it might be low quality, but I'm sure whatever they're selling in other stores is the same
They're
quality.
selling slip and slides too. Everything that Walmart sells, just put Kendall and Kylie over it.
Yeah.
In other bizarre news, listen to this headline. This 61-year-old woman just gave birth to her own granddaughter.
What? Oh, like
What? What do you think it
like a
means?
surrogacy? Like she took her daughter's egg and then put it in her body with her daughter's egg and her
Or-
No,
son-in-law's.
it was her own egg.
Had relationship with her son?
Oh
Yes.
they
No.
probably inseminated her with the daughter's husband's sperm
No.
with her own egg.
There's no daughter. It's a son.
She had a relationship with her son.
No,
The son is gay.
the son is gay. There you
Okay,
go.
and
The son is gay,
Oh.
and the mom was still able to,
wow.
have kids, and so what the guy did is he wanted to have
One of his own.
Yeah, one of his own. So now you're getting his I don't know if it's boyfriend or husband, but his
Significant other.
significant other. He will have at least half of his genes because it's his mom that's doing it.
And it's also his significant other. That's
okay.
So it's like
So
his sibling.
not the son's not doing it.
So it's like it's
They are
biologically
not
it's a sibling.
having intercourse.
No,
Shamir.
not even that. The son is not giving his seeds to his mom.
No, that would be
the relationship-
incestual.
Okay,
No.
that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the son-in-law is giving.
The seeds.
Yeah.
So that's going to be biologically his sibling. But
No.
yeah, biologically that would be his sibling.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And her grandson.
no, it can't be her grandson.
So
That's
then
her
why
son.
is the title-
Biologically, that's
her
her son.
granddaughter. Yeah, her granddaughter. Because
It's
because
not
it's his.
biologically, sure, but like not
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah,
but
not
by
biologically.
societal
Yeah.
terms, sure, but like
Yeah.
not biologically, that's their child.
Yeah. But what do you guys think of that? Is that like? Is that cool? Is that
I
weird?
mean, hey,
I think it's different.
sure.
That's a
Do what you
definition
gotta
weird.
do. Like Shane Dawson, he's like,
He's doing that too?
so he has a boyfriend, Rylan.
Oh, didn't he do
you
it with
know?
his sister?
And he was saying, what?
Sorry. Like that.
So Rylan has a sister, and they were saying the best way to go about it is that Morgan would carry, which is Rylan's sister, and it would be Shane's sperm and Rylan
That's what I was trying to say.
half.
When I said.
You know?
I think it's really cool. I think that people might be weirded out by it initially because they're seeing this gay couple and they're like, wait, what's going on here? Like this, the son-in-law.
I think
and
any
the
dynamic
mother.
of that would be weird.
But
it's
if I were to
okay.
think of it like, you know, if somebody's even wife, which like I don't have a problem with them being gay. I'm just saying people that do find it weird might find it for that reason. But even if you think about it from a perspective of like a guy's wife can't have kids for whatever reason, and so her mother might be able to, you're having a kid that is still part of the same genes. That's pretty sweet. Like if that's what you're trying to do. Of course there's always adoption.
That's
which
what I
is
was
amazing.
gonna say. There's also adoption.
I don't know. I just find that so fascinating. Like that, like our bodies can just do so much, and like they had to freeze his sperm for some time just to make sure that there was no diseases or anything, and then there's a whole process after that. But yeah, I mean like that's so. I don't know.
I mean,
that's
you
just
don't
cool
do
to
that in
me.
a regular pregnancy.
What?
Like screen it for diseases.
No, I know, but I think that they wanted to be like cautious just in case. But
Interesting. I mean, I think it's mad cool.
yeah. Okay, I think that we should introduce our guest now. He's coming all the way from Richmond, Virginia. He has an extremely cool story of you know, how he grew up and what circumstances he had to face in order to find him in his music. So he's here to talk with us today. He goes by the name Carnatic. Please welcome TAREEF SHARIEFF.
Everybody loves their mom's side of the family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
100%.
So
I
that's
definitely love my mom's side more.
Yeah.
You guys do too?
Yeah, for sure.
Why?
I don't know. It's just
Is it because they're more loving because it's like the mom and the
they have a lot more love for
are
the
girls
mother.
more loved?
Right, so then their kids are just like more cherished.
That's interesting. Now, Bangalore, right?
Yes, sir.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's
Or is
about
it
right.
like-
I mean, they're pronounced a couple different ways. So some people say Bengaluru, some people say Bangalore. So it just depends.
Okay, and what would that make you like? Are you Bangalore or
That would make me
something?
Bangalore, yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
that's
It's like a
pretty
separate
fire.
Yeah.
province.
I'm Bangalore. Like that's
So you don't say Indian, or like, you say that too?
No, I mean, I usually say Indian, and then when they
Okay.
ask what part of India you're from, I say Bangalore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so that's South India, right?
Yeah.
So
It's considered South
I feel like people that are from South India, they clarify that a lot.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
whenever somebody brings it up, they don't just say India. Do you guys notice that, or is it just me?
Yeah, they
No.
like say
usually
South
say
India.
South India. What's the difference? Like,
So India is a very like culturally diverse place, right? We speak so many different languages that like region to region, like it's just completely different. So I feel like when someone asks you if you're from South India, naturally once that question comes, the next question is, okay, where in South India? And then at that point you just start making those distinctions. Does that make
Right.
sense?
So you came here on our podcast, drove 3 hours from Richmond,
Richmond,
Yeah, it's
Virginia.
crazy.
dedication.
I have class tomorrow.
We
giving us the
appreciate
first-
that.
Okay, I want people to count how many times he's gonna say that's crazy. What should they do if every time you say that? Well, I don't want you to think about it, but like there should be some sort of incentive, like
And they get the right number, and they get like a reward.
yeah. Well, I'm not counting, so
I don't know.
no, they have to do something every time he says that. Like take a I'm not trying to say shots. I don't
Shot
want,
of
I don't want to
milk.
promote that because usually
Milk.
usually people are driving while they're listening to
Water.
podcasts.
Let's promote hydration.
Sure.
But then they're gonna have to
Or
pee if
chocolate
they're on
milk.
the road.
I
Chocolate
mean,
I like
milk.
chocolate
it's
milk.
okay.
He said chocolate. All right. Before you continue the rest of this podcast,
Grab a glass of chocolate
pull
milk.
over, go to Wawa,
100%.
Royal Farms, wherever you are,
100%.
7-Eleven, grab a chocolate
Nesquik,
milk.
Kroger.
He said Nesquik.
Specifically.
Grab it every time he says that's crazy.
Just
Chug
get a
it.
little sip.
Just a
There
little
you
sip.
go. Anyways, yeah. How was the drive?
It was good. There was a little bit of traffic early on, but I just kind of powered through it.
Thank you
Wow.
for the
That's
traffic
So
report.
strong of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
why,
coming all the way.
why did you want to come on today?
So I think a lot of it just had to do with wanting to just have an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I have watched a couple of your guys' podcasts. And then also just selfishly, for myself and for people who listen to my music to be able to get to know me on a more personal level.
Sure.
Nice.
So yeah, you like you
What
sent
do you-
us your music.
Sure.
Sorry, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say what's something that you want your audience to be able to see from you?
Right off the bat.
That at the end of the day, I'm just like a regular dude, you know, and it's just like we
That's
all kind
actually
of deal
very
with the
factual
same
when
things.
you walked in here.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
know?
wow, he's
Like-
very like a regular.
Well, Amber said hipster. So that's
Yeah.
the opposite of a regular
Yeah, I don't
dude.
think he's that regular looking. I feel like he's very hipster looking. Literally, just to describe to the viewers
Viewers,
on YouTube,
you should be
which
watching.
you should be. You should be watching on YouTube. But he has these jeans that are cut up to like mid. What is this?
Shin?
Mid shin.
Caption,
He has
yeah.
this little button up, but it's half sleeves with like an interesting print.
It's cold
And then-
outside.
And
It
it's
is-
cold outside. And clear
It is cold
glasses.
outside, yeah.
Clear frames.
Well,
It's
it's
a nice-
warm in
it's-
Richmond.
It's a nice look.
Mm.
Yeah.
Would you say it's warm in Richmond?
It's warm. It's warm in Richmond.
Wait,
So
really?
yeah, I was dressed for Richmond weather. That's what happened.
That's dope. So you go by the name Carnatic?
Carnatic, yeah.
Carnatic.
It's close.
Wait, say it again.
Carnatic.
Carnatic.
Yeah.
Your name is TAREEF SHARIEFF.
Sure.
Why not
Like,
that?
yeah.
That's
Rap
so
line.
lit.
Right, so that's the obvious one, right? I don't know. That's a good question, and I've kind of like thought about going back and forth with that type of stuff, but I just felt like I wanted a name with more meaning than just my name.
Well, what is Carnatic?
So the region of India that Bangalore is in is called Karnataka. Music traditionally made in that region is called Carnatic music. I took the C on the end of Carnatic at the end of the word, and I changed it to a K, so it's a play on the word.
That's awesome.
That's
Nice.
really cool.
So that, I mean, clearly you have an attachment to your roots.
I do.
Were you born here or were you born back in Bangalore? And when did you come over?
So I was actually born here.
You're born here, okay.
I was born in Northern Virginia.
Mhm.
But India has kind of always been a place that I've been to even since I was young. When I was like 3 or 4, my parents would take me down there, and then we would go literally every few years since then, even now.
Well, what does it like mean to you? Why are you connected so much to your roots?
Well, I think it's more like understanding where we come from and what kind of like life was like prior to moving to America, right? I think it's important to understand what our people come from and the type of art they consume and the type of food they eat, to sort of understand yourself better.
Yeah. So, connecting that to your music, how would you describe what your sound is? I was listening to it on the way here, by the way, and it is really like it's
Yeah.
nice.
Sure.
It definitely has a sound, which
And it
is
has
always a good thing.
Multiple languages in it too.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think the challenge moving forward is incorporating those elements of South Asian culture into the music tastefully, since a lot of times when it is done in that way, it can come off like corny.
What defines corny? Like, what would you say?
So sometimes it's kind of like when it's really like in your face with music, in my opinion, and it's like I can rap a bar about being Indian, right? And I can rap a bar about, I'm from South India. This is what South Indians do, I prefer more subtle references in my music, and then also sometimes I even lean away from just referencing stuff in lyrics, and go more into kind of touching on elements of like adding like tabla drums in, for example, or like doing like little things like that.
Yeah.
So to step back a little bit, how did you get started in music? And like when did it start?
So it started in high school. I was probably around like 16 years old, and I was just kind of messing around with beats. Prior to that, I was memorizing the Quran in the mosque, right? And so
Did you finish memorizing it?
I did, yeah.
Oh, so you're a Hafiz.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Mashallah.
Nice.
So growing up, I was always kind of nice with my voice, right? On that level, but there's only so much that you could do with the Quran in terms of how you kind of like mess around with your voice. So when I heard music for the first time, I was like, whoa.
You were 16 when you first heard music?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I heard music probably like a couple years after I finished Quran, which probably would have been around the time I was like 14.
Okay.
Or 15. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a lot.
No, go ahead.
But basically, when I heard like music for the first time, I think it was like Ayaz Replay or something was the first song I heard, and I was like, yo, like they're doing whatever they want with their voice, and there's absolutely no restrictions. So I was like, what's the fastest way I can start doing something like this, right? And at that point, people were starting to make beats on FL Studio, which is just kind of like an entry level like software for making beats. So at 16, I was just kind of like messing around with this program, not really knowing what I was doing, and then being so happy with whatever I would come up with at the end of the day, and then bringing it to my friends, and like my friends like hyping me up or whatever, but really it was just trash, you know. So,
well, I have to ask, like, what was the transition between, you know, memorizing the Quran to making music? Was there community pressures and people talking, you know, down about you?
You know, it's interesting because even some of my sheikhs who were like helping me memorize sort of knew that I was singing. So I haven't really had to deal with anything like that.
Are they bumping
in terms
Carnatic?
of,
Like,
I don't necessarily think they're bumping me, but they're not really like looking at me crazy like that yet.
That's awesome.
And I feel like that's gonna come probably at some point, just because of the territory. But yeah, I haven't had an issue yet up to this point.
That's awesome. On the topic of being Muslim, like, what's it like growing up, you know, from South India as a Muslim? Like, is that perceived differently?
Sure. I mean, it's so confusing, right? Because you grow up and you're friends with all these Indian kids, right, who have these certain experiences with how they're growing up, in terms of what they worship and how they worship, but you don't necessarily fit with them because you're Muslim, right? And so they're like, okay, you're kind of like us, but not really. And then on the other end, right, with Pakistani people or just the Muslim community in general, right, they kind of, earlier on, it was kind of like, okay, you're Muslim, but at the same time you're Indian, right? So like you're not all the way there, you know? So it was like, I don't fit here and I don't necessarily fit here. So it was always kind of like confusing growing up, but as I grew older, it was kind of one of those things that I'm like truly appreciative of because I can pull things from both sides.
Yeah. To take it into sort of like a more serious subject, you did write to us about your father who is bipolar and schizophrenic.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So I think it's actually in my family, in terms of, well, what I'm trying to say is I think my grandfather had it as well.
Okay.
But essentially my dad got diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia when he was at, basically when he was in college, his junior year. And so it's something that I wasn't necessarily conscious of growing up.
Was that here, by the way?
Yeah, that was here.
Okay.
So he went to Tech.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily something that I was conscious of growing up as a kid. So when you're kind of experiencing certain situations growing up, you're kind of like, yo, like, what's going on, you know? And then you kind of start to resent this person for their actions or for how they do certain things. But again, like, as I grew older, you start to understand that it's not necessarily them who's in control of what's going on, and really it's just them dealing with their own battles.
Well, when is it that you actually like found out? Did he tell you, or did you?
So actually my mom, God bless my mom, she told me probably when I was around 15 or 16, right?
Okay.
After something big had happened in our house in terms of like
Like an episode type
Yeah,
of thing. Okay.
type thing. And she told me, and you know, even though she told me for a little bit, it was hard because it's one of those things that's so just like personal, and there's so many things that have happened to me up to that point in my life with my dad because of, you know, what he was going through, that it was like I still wanted to just be like, you know what, like, so what, like, why didn't he like try to take care of it? But it's just one of those things that, again, over time, it's like there literally was absolutely nothing he could do.
And
you know?
what type of, how did that affect the household growing up?
Well, it sucked, right? Because you never necessarily knew what type of home you were going to be in when you came back from school. So one day you're getting dad who like loves and like cares about you on a completely different level. And then some days it's just like dad just doesn't care at all, you know?
So it changed daily? Like,
Well, it depends, right? Because it's kind of, with bipolar, it's kind of like episodes. So they're extremely high highs and they're extremely low lows. And then sometimes there's just kind of like this middle piece. So you never necessarily know when it's going to go all the way up or when it's going to go all the way down.
and would some periods last like long? And
Yeah, some periods last longer than other periods. And really the medication, all it can do is like keep it somewhat like stable. But sometimes you'll still get those like crazy ups and downs.
I know that I always say that for bipolar disorder and schizophrenia specifically, that those two are the hardest for family members to deal with, because the person who's actually doing it, they get a high off the manic regardless of whether they're happy or sad.
Sure.
That either way, it's still okay for them. But
Sure.
everybody else around them is the one being affected. However, you grew up with both of them, both disorders in the same house.
Yeah.
Do you think that those experiences affected your music and maybe channeling your energy into some of?
So with the schizophrenia, I wasn't really like conscious of what my dad was seeing or like what was going on. But I think the bipolar did positively end up affecting my music in a sense that because my dad was kind of a different person week to week or even sometimes day to day, it forced me to put myself as I grew older in his shoes in terms of what he was thinking at that point, right? So when it came to writing music, I was able to put myself in these different perspectives a little bit easier. But yeah, I think that's how that's affected my music.
How did the rest of your family come to terms with it, or did they even do that?
I think they just kind of...
I'm talking about extended family.
I mean, there are people in my extended family who still probably don't know that this is exactly what's going on. I don't think they necessarily even view it as like an illness, you know?
That's
Just
exactly
'cause
what I'm
that's-
asking. You understand that in our communities, this is
There's
a very
this
like
is a stigma, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
100%.
what do you hope to sort of like you know, take from this experience and sort of do for the community? I know that's like a big task,
Right.
but like I think we do need to talk about these things, and we're appreciative that you are even speaking about it. So
Sure. I think it's something that I don't necessarily know that I want to be at the forefront of.
Sure.
But if there are things that I can do to further that cause, then that's something that I'm looking forward to doing. Like on campus, I'm a part of this organization called Golden Rams, and it's kind of similar stuff, right? It's like mental health awareness.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily in the South Asian community, which I think is pretty needed.
I think that's something that family members of people with these mental disorders end up having to do, is gaining a lot of empathy, and like you said, having to place yourself in the shoes of those people. Do you think that that has overall rounded you out with your relationships with people in your life, with having empathy for others and being able to relate to them on whatever field it might be, even if
sure.
it is way out there?
Sure. I mean, you just generally become more accepting of people, and I guess you start to have more patience with people, and how they sort of like react to things, or like when they say something that maybe might be a little bit slick to you.
You can roll it off your shoulders.
Yeah,
more,
a little
for
bit
sure.
easier, and it's not as like, okay, I'm not like as quick to like just get pissed off and just kind of like talk to you a certain way or feel a certain way about you, and there's no like real preconceived notion type thing, or like even if I have a couple interactions with you, I'm not gonna think you're that type of person based on those couple interactions.
Yeah, you seem very composed and easygoing.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did say that like there's these different stresses that you had to go through that maybe other kids didn't.
Right.
Growing up, that kind of might make your music a little bit more unique.
Mm-hmm.
How do you hope to sort of like get that message across like through the music? Because right now, I mean, I asked you earlier, what your music sounds like, and I don't know. It to me, like I feel like there's a lot of inspiration from maybe Weeknd, Nav, people like that. Is that
Sure? I guess it really just comes down to being authentic, right? When I go into the studio now, which the records that you guys have heard up to this point, or the record that you have heard was not recorded in the studio. I think it's just being able to capture moments and feelings. So when I feel something right away, I just go and I'll write, right? And so just being able to capture those moments.
So you don't
Really?
intentionally go for like a certain objective?
No,
when
I'm
writing?
not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna wake up one morning and be like, "Yo, I want to make a sad song."
Okay.
You know? That doesn't happen. If I wake up and I'm sad, I'll make a sad song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, who are some of your inspirations or people that you sort of try to emulate in your music?
Music wise, who do I try to emulate? I try to take elements from Nav. I think we all listen to Drake, so on some level, I think I'm influenced by him. Yeah, I mean you kind of hit it right on the head, right? Nav, The Weeknd, Drake.
I think that's the most popular sort of sound right now. One of the most popular sounds right now.
Sure.
A lot of people coming up right now are trying
Toronto.
to go for the Toronto sound.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anders. I listen to a lot of pop stuff. Billie Eilish, Daniel Caesar, Bryson Tiller.
And so with the music, like something that I kept catching on to in your lyrics was there's a lot of talk about money.
Right.
I think one of your lyrics on a song that you just came out with, you were saying like by 22 you want a milli or a Rari. What was it? You say a Rari or a milli?
I want a Rari by
A
22.
Rari, okay.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 21, so
21.
a year. I got a
Ooh,
year.
okay, you got a year.
Yeah.
All right.
He's like,
A
I already
A
got
little
the
bit pressed
Rari.
for time. I don't
He's
know.
like,
I
I
have
already
to
have
change
it.
that bar.
It's
What do you
good.
think?
It's
No,
good to
but-
set goals.
It's
No,
like-
that's cool. But like you do have a lot of lyrics about money. What
Sure,
what
I
do you
like
think
nice
that,
things.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do you think that if you had, say, $1 million, what would that do for you?
What would $1 million do for me? Are you asking me what it would do for me or what I would spend it on?
Take it how you want it.
I don't necessarily know that it would do anything for me beyond like just being able to, I guess, just purchase like material things. In terms of the music, I think as soon as I make a little bit of money on that level, I want to be able to like build a studio right away. So I just kind of have a space that I can just go into by myself. But in terms of material things, yeah, I like nice things, right? So like being able to like support my family, and being able to just kind of like buy their house outright and being able to take care of them. I think that would be the like most natural thing as
Sure.
soon as I would get a
There's
little bit of
also
money.
there's also a lyric. I don't know if you want to talk about this one, but you say doing lines in the bathroom.
Homies in the bathroom, Coke lines, right?
The homies
right,
are doing
right,
lines.
right. So I've
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so I personally never been one to do hard drugs. But again, when you're in college, you experience certain things, right? And I do have friends who, and not to put their business
Partake.
out there, who partake, right?
Sure. And you do listen to Nav.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. Yeah. So like, besides telling your story, being authentic to what message you're trying to promote, we live in a very fast moving sort of like media and entertainment world. How do you hope to stick out? Like, what are you trying to do when it comes to things like even social media to get your work out there?
That's an interesting question. I don't think necessarily I'm at the point where I've really like thought about stuff like that, but some of the smaller things that we've been doing is kind of like throwing like little small like little like parties in like our little like dorms.
Who's
or
we?
whatever. So it's me and this other guy. He kind of produces all my stuff.
Oh, cool.
He
What's
also
his
sings.
name?
His name is Rahul.
Shout out
Pillai.
Rahul.
Shout out.
So he's pretty tight.
There's someone that you've collaborated with a few times. It's not.
That's Rahul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of the social media thing, it's something that I've started to kind of think about, but like coming here, thinking about like doing like music videos, like doing like skits in the future.
So I guess right now you're doing locally,
Yeah.
trying to build your brand locally.
Yeah, it's mostly local, so like throwing like little parties,
So
like handing out shirts. Like,
VC
doing
is
that
bumping
stuff.
you right now, Carnatic.
Yeah,
What's-
most of the brown kids.
What's the extent you'll take to get exposure?
You're talking about like in terms of like how wild am I gonna get?
I mean, like, what are you willing to do? You know, like, do it for the
I mean,
gram?
I'm not willing to do like everything. Like I'm not gonna sit here and just like while out and not be somebody.
I mean, are you like low key? Like, are you gonna pull a weekend where you don't ever see him until like way later on, and then he's out there, or are you gonna be like, I mean, like Billie Eilish, right? Billie Eilish is, I think a lot of people found her from her media stuff that she does, right? Like she
Sure.
has a personality that's very easy to relate to, and so
Yeah.
people like that, and then they're like, oh, let me check out her music. Oh, she's fire.
I mean, I don't necessarily think I have like a really charismatic personality like that. So ideally, I'd
never
want to
know.
be, I guess, but I mean, ideally, I'd want to be the type of person to just kind of drop my little music and just disappear, and then just drop my music again. Because it's really just about the music for me.
Mhm.
So if you find this podcast, it's a gem because you won't be getting many of them.
We're blocking out his face.
What else do you hope to do besides are you in school or anything right now, or like what's?
Yeah, so I'm actually in school for computer science.
I
Yeah, so I'm
knew it.
programming.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I knew that, but I'm gonna say I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not trying to get a job in computer science at all?
No, I am.
Or-
I mean,
okay.
I'm actually set up for an internship this summer doing
Okay.
comp sci in McLean. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's something that you're always gonna have like music on the side, but then if that takes off, that like you want to do that full time.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not delusional, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, I'm gonna be like this crazy like star, you know?
Oh,
making music.
we're all delusional.
all
here,
delusional.
so-
Right.
I'm actually very offended by that.
Well, I mean, I feel like you have to be crazy on some level to pursue like whatever type of creative thing you're doing.
Of course.
But at the same time, you have to be able to, you know, pay the bills, and you have to be able to like live comfortably while these things aren't going on, right? So
I'm eating McDonald's.
remember last week we had, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, we had someone on that is like, you know how rich people don't say that they're comfortable, or they say that they never say they're rich. They're like, I'm comfortable.
yeah,
I was like, I'm gonna start saying, you know, I'm uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable.
That's how I'm trying to live. But no, that's good. I mean, like you want to be able to, like you said, pay your bills.
I
take
want to
care
have
of family.
balance.
And comp sci
You
pays a
said
lot.
that you
so.
find inspiration from artists like Anikon, Mo Vision, and Omar Hoda.
100%.
And what do you? I can see how you relate to them because you know we have similar cultures. But what do you gain from it?
What do I gain from it? I think the most important thing that I took from being inspired by those people, particularly, is that okay, here are three people who kind of look like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who have sort of similar upbringings, because we all kind of have similar upbringings, and they're able to produce music that sounds like this on this level, right? Just in terms of sonically, not even thinking about numbers, and just being able to see that is kind of like, whoa, it's kind of possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest thing. And then also just the way they carry themselves, I think is just really clean. So those are the things I take away from those guys.
I like how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that because look, when we're talking about like the artists that she just named, they all kind of have, I guess, like a more rapper look.
Uh-huh.
You don't have the, I guess, quote unquote rapper look.
Sure.
And I think that's like Logic is kind of like that. Well, at least at the beginning, right? He kind of was like
At the beginning, he wasn't.
NASA. Oh, he
Now
wasn't?
he is.
Now, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know as much Logic, but yeah, I think that's really cool.
I
thank
still
you.
feel like he has like an artist look.
It's
It's
authentic.
not a
Yeah.
rapper look.
He's not
by
trying
any
creative
means.
to
look.
be.
It's a creative look.
Yeah.
It's like I can tell that like, okay, you're doing computer science, but I know that you got, but I know you got something happening on the side. I know you got something popping on the side. You feel me?
It's more than just a program.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's your favorite thing happening in music right now?
What's my favorite thing happening in music? I really love the Billie Eilish album. I think it's so good. Yeah, so just like so just that, I guess Nav dropped, that's kind of cool. Yeah, there isn't really much.
Why are you two
There isn't
laughing?
much.
I made a weird sound. I was hoping no one heard that.
I heard it, but I was ignoring
As
it.
soon as I heard the sound, I knew it was him. He's the only one that makes sounds like that.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about this before. I want to know your opinion. What do you think about Billie Eilish's sort of
Let's ask him. Did you see that interview by Vanity Fair, the 1 year apart?
Yeah.
Okay, like, what is your take on it and her being more? Well, you can say how
Just
you
speak
felt
on it.
like she was. Yeah.
we won't tell you, like, what do you think about her sort
I
of
don't want to preface it in any which way.
What do
media
you mean?
personality, like
Just in terms of like what she's like.
how she acts, like?
In that interview specifically.
Do y'all think it's fake?
Well, I'm asking you, what do you think about that whole thing?
I thought that if the interviews were genuine and if the way she felt was genuine, I think it's kind of sad
Right.
to just see how this sort of progression happens over time when these kids or whatever get famous super young, right? Like, I think she was there was like a question or something where they asked her like, what would you tell yourself like in the future or something, right? And it was like, be happy.
Yeah.
And she still wasn't happy.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was just kind of sad to see that even though like she was having this like type of commercial success, that the commercial success doesn't necessarily translate to happiness, and that sometimes it can be almost debilitating.
I think it's hard to read, and it's a thing that the reason we were talking about it is because it's a fun thing to kind of talk about, like, do you think it's real or not? And maybe it's just that, like, I guess for me personally, it's hard for me to come to terms with the way that artists go through things now.
Sure.
Like, you know, take Lil Xan or Lil Pump and Billie Eilish, whoever, right? Versus people that we sort of grew up, or at least I grew up on, like, listening to rap where they were going through, like, literally, like, struggles of not being able to live at home, you know, being homeless and having kids and having to pay child support and being on welfare and then making it, beating all odds. Like, that's kind of what I always thought of. But now there's, like, a lot of talks of mental health and everything, and it's not to downplay what anybody's going through at all, because even if Billie Eilish is going through something, just because she didn't go dead broke doesn't mean that she's not experiencing sadness.
Sure.
I think that's the only difficult part to process, because you're comparing, like, somebody's story of, like, what they went through with somebody who's, like, mentally going through maybe a similar warfare.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask you, like, what you think of that. And you have also, we just had a conversation about you saying, like, how you feel about money and things, and, you know, maybe a year from now we'll do your Strange Flavors one year apart, and maybe
I
you're
hope
like,
so.
Yo, so I got the RARI. How do you feel?
Yeah, that'd
you
be
know
crazy,
what?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
I mean, what do you predict? Like, would you think that that's something that you'd be like, you know what, it didn't make me happy? Or,
What
like,
do you
think-
want to tell yourself a year from now?
Yeah.
What do I want to tell myself a year from now? I would just tell myself to just continue making music and just continue doing the things that I love, and not to take people's praise too highly, and not to take the criticism
Too harshly.
you know, and just kind of like stay just kind of in this middle ground.
That's really great advice. And yes, please keep making music, because it's actually really great.
Yeah. But to
Um,
clarify, I sided more with your opinion on the Billie Eilish thing, just because I do think that I feel like you can understand that somebody's pain can, throughout time, you can almost like see pain in somebody, and even if it is for clout to, you know, hype up, you know, like, again, a lot of people are making t-shirts out of anxiety and selling it, and that's kind of like a fad. And you can also argue that, well, that person is going through anxiety, and so whatever. But I feel like Billie Eilish has at a young age experienced too much for the threshold of what she could handle. And I think it's sad. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to add my opinion in there.
Yeah. Any future projects or plugs that you want to put out there and where people can find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music,
everywhere
under Carnatic, CARNATIK. I'm looking to drop my first studio EP probably mid to the end of April.
Ooh, that's close.
Yeah, so those tracks are pretty much almost done. I have probably going to go in and record like 2 more tracks, and then just leave that alone. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on everything that you've done so far.
Yeah, sure.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
We have one final question that we ask our guests at the end of every podcast.
Okay.
And Shimmer will take that away.
If you could describe yourself in any flavor, what flavor would it be and why?
Chocolate ice cream. I feel like it gets like a bad rap. Because it's just chocolate.
No, I'm just kidding.
And it's like, well, I don't know about all that. But I guess people just think it's bitter, but I love it. And I feel like without chocolate ice cream, you couldn't have other ice creams.
Nice.
That's a play on like yourself, you're saying then. Without
yeah, I mean, if you want to read
without
into it like that.
You couldn't have. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know about that.
No, but yeah, I mean, that's a great message for the chocolate ice cream, and chocolate is definitely appreciated on this side. So,
but
no, we can't do
I said on this side.
Are you like a vanilla person?
I mean,
I think
I'm
vanilla's so
everything
whack.
but chocolate. I'm everything but chocolate.
Okay.
I love strawberry. I love vanilla. I love
Whack,
cookie dough.
whack.
I love. Oh my gosh.
I'm with you though. I'm with you. I think.
How many
I
times
think
are you gonna have like
chocolate's-
cookies and cream and like cookie dough?
No, but you have all those options. I named a lot.
I think
for
that
you.
if you like chocolate, and I'm guessing you like chocolate to a high degree.
Yeah,
then you
there's-
really like chocolate.
Yeah, and people just don't understand.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I
can't
think
relate.
that people only got to take a sip of their chocolate milk this whole podcast, which is kind of disappointing.
I
So
know.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I really didn't say it like that. That's crazy.
Well, again, Tareef, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Man,
We
thank
really
you for
appreciate
you
you.
guys for
Sharieff.
having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
And for everybody listening, it's been another week.
Another flavor. Oh, sorry. I hate myself. Another flavor.
A little less stranger.
We'll talk to you next time.
Nights with the lights take a sight sound. Stars blinging in the city make you pipe down. Snow White hit the slopes, it's a night down. There's some things about the city you should.